Hello, and welcome to the Main Meal Weight Management Support, where we help each other find the confidence and self-esteem to reach and maintain our weight goals by tapping into joy and living our best lives in every moment. So we've been talking about our conversations. We've been noticing what we're talking about. We've been noticing what else there is to say. We've been practicing the positive. But let's talk about really some of the more of the pattern of content in our conversations. There came a time when I realized that all I did was talk about food. I talked about dieting, whether I was on a diet or just quit a diet or I needed a diet or what food was good for me or what foods I was going to try, which meal plan. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I needed to stop. And so when I stopped talking, I started listening. I needed to know what everybody else was talking about. And first, what I heard was reassuring and concerning. I heard my own conversations coming from other people. It was reassuring to know that I wasn't the only one who couldn't sit down to a meal without judging myself as good or bad based on what I was eating. I wasn't the only one who had my self-esteem all tied up in what I looked like and what I ate. It was concerning to me that so many people felt bad about what they're eating and how they looked. Worse, they felt bad about themselves because of what they were eating and what they looked like. And I was right in there with them, but it was easier to see it in other people than it was to see it in myself. So I chose not to engage in those negative conversations. I quit talking about what I was going to pick for lunch, what I was actually eating, whether or not I was going to go on a diet. I just stopped talking about it. And I wouldn't engage in what I looked like. I wouldn't talk about how I looked or whether I was too fat or whether I had lost weight. I just quit talking about it. And what happened was, I started hearing other things from my friends and family. I realized that people love to talk about themselves. Don't we all? You know, of course we do. Some people love to complain and others love to worry, but we all love to talk about our families. We love to talk about a new class we're taking or a project we just started or the promotion we got at work. We're excited about these things and it shows. Our eyes light up, we talk with our hands, and our voices sing with the joy we're feeling. So I wanted to have more of those conversations. It was easy to get them started just by asking someone else about their favorite topic. And when I stopped talking and listened, I began to learn what other people's favorite topics were. I didn't need to be the one on stage leading every conversation. I could just ask a question and then let the happy begin, let the joy begin, let them talk about what lights them up. And I still kept listening. The more I listened to my friends, the more I really began to hear them. When I wasn't concerned about what I would say next or how I would respond or get my ideas into the conversation, I began to notice the concern underneath the jokes, or the quiet confidence in the way they conducted themselves, or the wisdom of their years of experience. I noticed that they needed acceptance and validation every bit as much as I did. And I realized I could give it to them just by listening attentively and lovingly. My response to what they were saying, rather than a response that was all about me, a response that really showed I had heard them, deepened our friendships. So all this listening began to become a habit. And so naturally, I began to listen to my own thoughts. Was I constantly complaining or worrying or judging myself? Wouldn't it be nice to have a joyful, supportive, and validating conversation inside my own head, as well as with my friends and with the people around me? We all need that joy. We are our own biggest critic, and we need to just stop. We need to guide our thoughts into the things that light us up and bring us joy. These days, I call that being fully engaged in living. And by that, I mean every task and every thought has my full attention in each moment. Am I doing the dishes? Okay, what does the water feel like? How much effort does it take to get that food unstuck from the baking dish? How satisfied do I feel when all the dishes are clean back in the cupboards? Fully engaged in that task. When I find myself worried or frustrated or just bored, I stop and ask myself if this is what I want to be engaged in right now. Because this is where what I want to give my energy to. Wouldn't I prefer to be thinking, feeling, and doing something more joyful, something else? So the content of our conversations, internal and external, is what gives our lives color and depth and magic. If we think of our life as the outline of the painting, we get to choose the colors. We get to fill in the spaces and bring the painting to life. We make the magic happen by what we say and what we think. Let's bring out the joy in each other. Let's fill ourselves so full of joy it spills over to everyone we meet. Let's have a different conversation, one that's loving, affirming, and fully engaged with life. If you want to go a little deeper on these topics, you can always go out to www.themainmealwms.com and click on the blog. I've got a new blog coming out every week, and I go deep into these topics that I do the little videos about here. You can also go to the Main Meal Weight Management Support YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you do that. I'd love to get more subscribers. And you can find all these videos in one place and rewatch them if you want to. No matter what changes you're making to your life, it's a game of solitaire, but it should never be played alone. Let's do this together. See you next week.